Governor Soludo inspects ongoing projects in Onitsha metropolis. Southeast Peace Summit and public hearing on insecurity, crime and human rights violations holds in Awka. Federal government considers closing second Niger bridge. And Denmark is considering banning protests involving the burning of religious texts. Before the news in details, here is a special message. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. Good morning and welcome to the news. My name is Nonye Mokoye. Happy New Month. Governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, has reiterated commitment towards reviving Onitsha back to its old glory. The governor gave the commitment when he took a tour of the city, inspecting his administration's ongoing projects in Onitsha. Our Government House correspondent Ejike Abana filed this report, taken from here.
The inspection tour took the governor and his entourage through Bright Street, Main Market, Bide Road, Emwadi Street, Oduigbo Ochanja Market, Fege, Onitsha South Stadium, as well as Creek Road in Onitsha. Also inspected was the Onitsha South Stadium, among others. The event took a dramatic turn when the entourage got to the 2.17-kilometer Niger Street Road project, which also has a 1.1-kilometer flood control channel contract. The governor expressed disappointment at the slow pace of work and terminated the contract between the state government and Tech Engineering Limited handling the project, pointing out that the contractor demonstrated incompetence for the job.
Going well, it's not going according to our plan, and we're going to have a new plan for you. But we are going to solve this problem in the next 2-3 months, okay? Thank you very much. Illegal structures will leave, but Anambra will be good.
The tour around the city also offered the governor an opportunity to interact with residents of the city. Generally, amidst cheers at intermittent stops, the governor tasked citizens on clearing their drainages and maintaining a positive, healthy attitude towards the environment. He revealed that when his administration is done constructing more streets to Upper Iweka, Fege, Zik Avenue, Creek Road to Silas Works, Porakot Road, among others, it will inject a breath of fresh air into the city as the largest commercial city in West Africa. According to him, furniture will be put on the roads to give the city's aesthetics a facelift, assuring of renovating the Onitsha Stadium into a family-friendly urban entertainment leisure recreational center, in addition to the sporting activities going on in the location.
Inspection condition because before our coach Aga September, October,
Part of government officials that accompanied the governor were the Deputy Governor, Dr. Onyekachukwu Ibezim, Chief of Staff to the Governor, Mr. Ernest Ezajuri, Chief of Protocol and Deputy Chief of Staff to the Governor, Mr. Chinedu Nwoye, Commissioner for Works, Engineer Ifeanyi Okoma, his Youth Development counterpart, Mr. Patrick Agamba, Special Advisors to the Governor on Security Matters, AVM Ben Chiobi retired, and Political Matters, Dr. Alex Obiobolu, and the Chairman, Anambra Urban Regeneration Council, Architect Mike Okonkwo. Ejike Abana, ABS News.
To critically examine worsening security situation in the southeast and propose workable solutions, the Rule of Law and Accountability Advocacy Center, RULAC, in partnership with Action Group on Free Civic Space, AGFCS, has organized Southeast Peace Summit and public hearing on insecurity, crime and human rights violations at Awka, the Anambra State capital. Our correspondent Joseph Ebocha reports that the ongoing event has eminent jurists, experts in human rights law, members of the civil society from Southeast states, as well as media practitioners in attendance, and features testimonies from victims of and witnesses of insecurity and human rights violation.
Speaking at the event, the executive director of RULAC, Mr. Okechukwu Nwanguma, explained that with the testimonies by the victims and witnesses, concerned stakeholders can assist the most vulnerable and most affected to seek legal redress as well as advocate and push for urgent action to pull the zone out of the quagmire. He regretted that instead of using stakeholders' engagement and dialogue to address the underlying factors motivating separatist agitation, federal government resorted to brutal repression, which consequently radicalized the once unarmed group, leading to devastating impacts on socio-economic and political development, livelihoods, well-being, and civic freedoms. Mr. Nwanguma, who described the routine sit-at-home being observed in the Southeast as senseless, regretted that the order from non-state actors has ruined the economy of the Southeast and worsened the plight of the toiling people, most of whom depend on daily earnings, while expressing concern that the Nigerian police force is yet to make public the outcome of investigation into allegations of arbitrary arrests, detention, torture, extrajudicial killing, conversion of property of killed or disappeared persons, and organ harvesting by a whistleblower against some senior police officers in Anambra State. RULAC, however, commended the Anambra State government on the establishment of Bureau of Missing Persons, calling on other states to emulate Anambra and for all state governments to take steps to restore people's confidence in governance.
Exception must be met of the Anambra State government, which has set up a bureau for missing persons, which was one of the recommendations from the committee that the governor set up to investigate insecurity in Anambra State. And I think it's a commendable move that the governor of Anambra State has made, and we think that governors of other states in the South should cue into that initiative of the Anambra State government.
Earlier in his keynote speech, a human rights lawyer, Professor Shede Odenkalo, called for conscious efforts to rebuild the Southeast for sustainable development. In Awka, Joseph Ebocha reporting for ABS News.
The Anambra State Association of Town Unions, ASATU, has expressed worry over the harassment and molestation of some president general in many communities in Anambra State. David Ndife reports that the protest, which took place at the government house in Awka, had in attendance all the three ASATU zonal coordinators and presidents general of various communities in the state. We have details of that report.
Earlier in a press briefing, the ASATU National President, Barrister Titus Akbudo, cited the case of the President General of Ifitedunu, Chief Uchenna Nwoye, who was recently beaten up and assaulted by some persons in the community. Presenting their complaint before the State Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Chief Tony Collins Nwabunwanne, the ASATU National President, together with other members of the union, regretted that ASATU has lost Presidents General of Nimo, Obosi, Nanka, Omo, and some others to gruesome murder. Barrister Akbudo further emphasized that Chief Nwoye, who was duly elected PG by majority of Ifitedunu people, was also recognized by the state government. Hence, proper procedure must be taken in removing him from office if found wanting or defaulting in service.
We call on the government to declare that man and his gang enemies of the state, and also to prosecute them. ASATU will never relent until we see justice for this guy. We will follow it up.
In their separate contributions, the ASATU Second National Vice President and PG Osumowu Town Union, Ichie Dennis Mominfe, Okeja PG Ken Emakai, and his Ezinifite counterpart Nzenwora Ekwilo, represented by Honorable Emeka Umakuka, amongst others, commended the National President for his efforts. They shared their experiences and lamented over the constant bad treatment meted on members and called for more proactive measures to tackle the situation.
Most of us now here, more than 80% of the PG never
Responding, the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Chief Nwabunwanne, on behalf of the state government, while commending the PGs for their conduct over the incidents, stressed that the Soludo-led administration has zero tolerance to violence, unruliness, and calumny against any Anambra indigene, advocating that in case of any issues, due processes should be followed, especially as it concerns community affairs. He affirmed that Governor is already aware of the incident and is already taking the necessary steps to addressing the situation. He also noted that Governor Chukwuma Soludo has also directed security agencies to commence investigation and bring the culprits to book.
We have actually informed the security agencies to take notes, and I thank the President Generals for the way they've conducted themselves, and show of support, and solidarity. So we're going to take it up from here and make sure that those who beat up the President General of the June will bring to book.
Anambra State Government, through the State Ministry of Health, has inaugurated 17-member State Laboratory Technical Working Group for effective coordination of laboratory systems across the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Afam Obidike, who inaugurated the committee in Oka, charged them to work within the terms of reference, guiding the group so as to promote health of the people. In 2017, the National Laboratory Technical Working Group was inaugurated in line with the recommendations of the World Health Organization, WHO, for improved coordination of the laboratory systems in Nigeria. For effective coordination, states were encouraged to establish their own technical working committee. Dr. Obidike reiterated the commitment of Governor Chukwuma Soludo in repositioning the healthcare system in the state and revealed that medical laboratory or clinical laboratory is where tests are conducted on clinical specimens to obtain information about the health of a patient to aid in diagnosis, treatment and prevention of diseases. Members of the committee are Prince Chris Azo, Chairman, Professor Nneka Agbakoba, Deputy Chairman, Mr. Obieno Ebe, Secretary, Mrs. Apollonia Okeke, Coordinator, while Dr. Abdul Nasir Adamu, Dr. Innocent Umakunne, Dr. Simeon Onyemechi, Dr. Afam Aneme, Dr. Ugochukwu Chukwulobe, Dr. Chinwe Obioma, Mr. J.C. Acho are equally members. Others are Mrs. Christy Igwe, Mr. Henry Ikebwe, Mrs. Edith Nwachukwu, Pharmacist Chisom Uchem, Pharmacist Nonso Ndibe, and Mrs. Perpetual Moloku. The commissioner also urged them not to limit their work to only public hospitals, but to also extend it to private laboratories in the state. He stressed the need for certification and recertification of not only medical laboratory scientists, but also medical doctors so as to sanitize the entire health system. On promoters of Igbo culture and tradition and adherents to the teachings of late Reverend Father Dr. Raymond Arazo converged on the Spiritan Center for Self-Realization, Oka, to celebrate the one-year memorial mass of the Holy Ghost priest. The Catholic priest during his lifetime was known for the promotion of Igbo culture and values throughout his life. We have the details.
During the Holy Mass, Reverend Father Philip Anyika, while paying tribute to late Reverend Father Dr. Arazu, who was the immediate past chairman, Anambra State Traditional Medicine Practitioners Board, noted that the priest used all that God bestowed on him to serve humanity, adding that he was able to translate the Psalms in the Bible to Igbo songs as contained in Abuoma. According to him, Reverend Father Arazu believed that the spirit of Ndibo is reflected in the Abuoma. He called on the management of the Center for Self-Realization to carry out research on how to produce herbs for the treatment of kidney problem, which according to him is taking a large toll on the masses, while expressing satisfaction with the packaging of malaria herbs in form of tea.
Why? The spirit of Ndibo. Oh well, Nyana Bom. I go to a couple of them who can judge you well.
In his address, the chairman on the occasion, Chief Dr. Dennis Okafo, appealed to the state government to sustain the vision of Reverend Father Arazu by promoting indigenous herbs and medicine. He said in Ghana, medicine that are products of herbs and roots have been converted to tablets and tea. Chief Okafo also called for the establishment of an institution to award certificate to traditional medicine practitioners.
Arazu. bụ onye na-achọ ọdịmma mmadụ. Onye oge o biri ndị ya n'ụwa o ji nkwa ya kwelu ịsabụ Chineke nna were sabụkwuo humanity welu impact nye ndị mmadụ knowledge n'ụdị dị iche iche.
In his address, the deputy director of the center, Reverend Father Jude Okeke, described the departed priest as an educationist, humanitarian, composer, and herbalist who, during his lifetime, was interested in the holistic development of the youth and improvement of the well-being of the poorest of the poor. He said late Father Arazu was involved in the collection of roots and herbs for the treatment of different ailments while calling for support to help immortalize the famous Catholic priest of the Holy Ghost Order. In an interview, one of the followers of Reverend Father Arazu, Honorable Tony Uche Ezekwelu, said the priest really opened his eyes, adding that God gave the Igbo race and Africa as a whole all that they needed for sustenance and self-reliance without external influence, stressing that the late priest was using his talent to save lives, adding that in one of his books, Man Know Thyself, the priest treated issues on the development of man. He frowned at the continuous consumption of non-herbal medicine, which according to him is injurious to health. Honorable Ezekwelu called on the state government to encourage the study of traditional and herbal medicine in higher institutions. He said traditional medicine should form one of the departments in the College of Health Sciences.
God made everything that we Igbos, we Africans, can use to survive without external assistance. That medicine, you find that God made good life in plants, fruits, and herbs. And if you study it and use the right portion, you have health, standard health, without costing us so much.
The goodwill message of the Deputy Governor, Dr. Onyeka Ibezim, who served with Father Arazu in the Traditional Medicine Board, was received. Among the groups that attended the memorial service of Reverend Father Arazu were Aboma Society of Nigeria, Catholic Priests and Brothers of the Holy Ghost Order, Southeast Region, and traditional medicine practitioners. The Zaga Masquerade performed during the memorial service to add color to the event.
And the federal government has lamented that the second Niger Bridge may be blocked if miscreants continue to vandalize the metal components of the bridge. Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Mr. Mahmouda Maman, stated this when he visited the bridge to ascertain the level of the recent vandalization of the metal components. He called on security agencies to intensify surveillance on the bridge to curtail the activities of the miscreants, who he said were after the metal components. On the foreign scene, Denmark is considering banning protests involving burning the Quran or other religious texts over security and diplomatic concerns. The Danish Foreign Ministry said whilst protecting freedom of expression is crucial, such protests benefit extremists and pose a security threat. Copenhagen is looking at legal means to intervene in some circumstances, including protests outside embassies. Sweden's Prime Minister also said work on a similar process has begun there. Both Scandinavian countries have come under pressure in recent weeks after authorities gave permission for a series of controversial protests where Islam's holy book was destroyed, stoking diplomatic tensions with several Muslim-majority nations. In its statement, Denmark's foreign ministry said it wants to explore intervening in some protests where other countries, cultures, and religions are being insulted, and where this could have significant negative consequences for Denmark, including security concerns. On sports news, Rangers are on the verge of completing a move for Emmanuel Ifeanyi. Ifeanyi will be a direct replacement for the Flying Antelopes captain Uche John, who left the club for Rivers United. The hard-fighting centre-back was spotted in training with Rangers last week. He is expected to be announced as a Rangers player during the official unveiling ceremony of the club's new players later in the week. And with that sport news, we come to the end of the news. But just before we go, remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at Anambra Broadcasting Service. Subscribe to our YouTube at ABS Television Oka, on Twitter at ABS Radio TV, and on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. And the main news again. Governor Soludo has inspected ongoing projects in Onitsha Metropolis. Southeast Peace Summit and public hearing on insecurity, crime and human rights violations holds in Awka. Federal government considers closing second Niger Bridge. And from the foreign scene, we brought reports that Denmark is considering banning protests involving the burning of religious texts. Before the news, to conclude the news, here is a special message again. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's continue to give him maximum support for the task ahead. And that's the news. We thank you so much for watching. My name is Nonya Nwokoye. Good morning and happy new month.